I learned about the power of retirement funds. Now, when you talk about taxes and or retirement funds, typically I lose about 10 or 15% of the audience because they're like, this is money that I can't touch or maybe money that I don't understand how it works. Let me tell you, when I was 22 years old, I thought an IRA was the most boring vehicle out there. Why? Because I couldn't touch anything I put in there till I was 59 and a half. So I thought for 30-something years, why would I even want to open this type of account? Well, I didn't. I learned all about how IRAs work, so therefore I could then have people lend me their IRA money to start my business. I learned this at the age of 22. Why did I learn it? I'd like to say because I was a genius. It was because I started a family. I was like, I got to pay my bills. I got to figure out how to fund a deal, and banks weren't lending me money. And most people don't know about this concept about self-directing for two reasons. One, most financial advisors don't understand it, so they're not going to tell you about it. And number two, most likely, they're not going to tell you because they don't get paid on it. So right now, if you are invested with Fidelity or Charles Schwab, or wherever you might be invested, if you move your money from them, they stop getting fees. So this is most likely why you've not heard about self-directing. So what is self-directing and who qualifies for it? You can actually invest when you self-direct your retirement funds in businesses, private businesses, even your own business. I've had someone invest in an ice skating rink. I don't know if it's the most successful thing, but they invested in an ice skating rink. I've had people invest in all kinds of different businesses, startup businesses. And so that is definitely one thing that people are doing. I would say majority of our investors are investing in other people's funds and or real estate. I think that there's over 97 million IRAs in the United States. This is IRAs. There's only 300-something million in the United States people. So there's over $11 trillion. By the way, a third of you in here are part of that number that's sitting there for the most part probably not too happy with their performance of the retirement account. Especially, I don't know, look at any 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the last little bit. If you're ever in a place where you're like, hey, I need to find a deal or syndicate a deal or I need a partner for my business, a third of America potentially could be your lender. I took such a simple concept that's been around since the 70s, and guess who's using this? Sure, Peter Thiel used it, right? But guess who else is using this concept? The wealthy. The rich keep getting richer. The wealthy know about this. Who do you think created the rule that said, oh, you can move your retirement account away from Charles Schwab or Fidelity, wherever it is. You can put it in an account with a trust company like the one we have and invest in your own business or invest in somebody else individually. The lobbyists didn't, except for the government. The government lobbyists did. They're the ones investing it. Mitt Romney, when he was running for president, do you remember how big his retirement account was? It was all over the news. I don't remember anymore, but I remember he also had a self-directed account. He invested in himself and in his own businesses. Self-directing is for those individuals who want to invest in themselves or in other individuals. It's been life-changing for me. I've not made billions, not yet, but I'm going to try to make $10 million a year. So the idea right now, if you're out there flipping properties and or in businesses, you're able to actually use your retirement account to do such. So you can turn your $6,000 in your first deal into $20,000. You'll never do that in the stock market. Another example, buy and hold. My whole point in when using a retirement account is if you can just make 10, 12% every single year, I'm not here to say you got to make 20. If you do, that's awesome. Or like what Kurt did, whatever the percentage that is, that's awesome. That's great. But if you can make 10 or 12% every single year and not pay taxes or defer your taxes, you'll be miles ahead of everybody else. Literally. So many people start saving money for retirement late in the game, and so they feel like they got to make these big risks. They got to go after and try to make 30% in their money. The problem with that, obviously, is you're putting your retirement at risk. If you can just learn how to invest at 10 or 12% and stop paying the taxes, it's a game changer. And what's great about a self-directed IRA, if you're in this room on either side of the transaction, if you want to use your IRA for a deal, or if you want to borrow someone's IRA for a deal, is you get to call the terms. Right now, if you go to in a real estate deal and you go to a hard money lender, do you get to call the terms? They tell you what the terms are. You're probably paying 12%, maybe 13 plus a few points, right? If you're lucky, you're paying 10, but banks now are charging 10. So that it's just typical. You couldn't go to a hard money lender and say, hey, look, on this deal, I'd like to pay you 4%, but give you a percentage of the profits when I sell. Hard money lenders going to say, no effing way. What's great about self-directing is it's flexible for both parties, both the buyer, the investor, and the borrower. And so for me, when it comes to businesses, I love investing in people that I know and understand. Indoor business that I can be a partner in. I can either lend or be a partner in it. Most people continue to do what they're doing, what their parents were doing, their grandparents were doing. What we do at Horizon Trust Company is we walk you through the process of how to access your funds in a very simple way. This self-directing concept, probably half of you have heard it. Maybe you don't know all the things that you can do with it. There's rules out there that you don't know about, and just like the self-directed IRA, like buying a plane. The rich know these rules. They buy a plane and then they don't pay taxes. They get a huge tax credit. They put down $1 million, they borrow $5 million, they get a $6 million tax credit. So instead of paying the IRS $2, $3, $4, $5 million, they pay them $0 and they own a plane. These are rules that have been around for a long time. The rich keep using the rules that are out there. Self-directing has been around since the 70s, and still yet, over 85% of the population doesn't even know what a self-directed IRA is. People don't want you to know what it is. They don't want you to unlock your money. At 22, when I had $0, I was able to use other people's retirement funds to fund my business. Just think of that. I didn't have to go to a bank. Now today, fast forward, I'm that person. It's IRAs and this crazy rule has changed my life. This is something as well that you can do. You don't have to make the huge returns. Make consistent returns. Don't pay the taxes or defer the taxes. I feel like it's the sexiest thing out there because it's consistent. I've been through all the craziness of 2008 stock market. I know the real estate market. I know what it's like when you're trying to go aggressive and all in. If you stay your course, get consistent returns, invest in yourself, you will be prepared for retirement.